listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
What Were You Thinking is brought to you by Dog.com. For everything and anything dog, shop Dog.com today for all the top brands. Greenies, Frontline, Kong, Nylabone, Royal Canin, and more. Shop at Dog.com and use the promo code SADTHINK, SADTHINK, and get $15 off your order of $75 or more.
You've had a long day at work, and you can't wait to just get home, take off your shoes, plop yourself down in your favorite chair, and relax. You walk up to your tranquil residential home and your neatly manicured lawn in your quiet suburban neighborhood, put the key in the lock, open the door, and... yes, the pets have gone wild! What were you thinking? Welcome to the show about everything you always wanted to know about exotic pets. Where to get them, what to feed them, and how to care for them. You'll even find out why some people live with a monkey. Now, here's your host, exotic pet expert and author, Bob Tarte. Hey, Bob, what were you thinking?
Hi, I'm Bob Tarte, author of the books Enslaved by Ducks and Fowl Weather, and I'm here with my wife, Linda.
Hello.
And I get quite a few people emailing me and asking me if they can recommend some good animal books. And I would be happy to do so. Since the holidays are coming up, I thought it would be a good idea to have a holiday reading guide. There's still time to buy some of these books and give them to people as gifts. And otherwise,
read them yourself.
This doesn't pretend to be any kind of survey of the newest books. These are basically...
books we got on our bookshelves or ones we've liked over the years.
Yeah, books we've liked a lot. So that's what we're going to talk about. Some of these books, most of them are in print, I think, but the few that are out of print...
you still might be able to get them.
Oh, you certainly can. From Abe Books or even Amazon, they have used books. So, and we are here in our noisy bird room in West Michigan. I did get a comment from somebody from one of the last shows. They said...
noisy.
They said, boy, your birds are loud. But they like to be on the show,
nice
too.
Sunny day, so they're just expressing themselves.
Yep. Linda, you want to start with some book recommendations? Now, a lot of these, some of these will be more well-known than others, but I think we have some books you probably have not heard of.
Of course, you want to mention your own books, which are wonderful books.
Oh, okay. Let's do that and get that out of the way. Thank you. I want to mention that Enslaved by Ducks and Fowl Weather are now out on Kindle, and last weekend, Enslaved by Ducks was the #1 pet bird book in print format, and it was also the #1 pet bird book on Kindle. So
hooray.
We're excited about that. So if
Wonderful.
you're interested in pet birds and also rabbits and cats and ducks and geese and turkeys, that's in Enslaved by Ducks and also Fowl Weather.
You'll enjoy them.
Yeah, you'll enjoy them. So, Linda, you want to start with some favorite book of yours?
Well, some of my favorite books over the years, I'd have to say my #1 favorite series of books is the James Herriot series. They've been out many, many years, maybe several, most of you people have maybe heard of them. But the books of All Things Wise and Wonderful, All Creatures Great and Small, All Things Bright and Beautiful, and The Lord God Made Them All, that's 4 different books. It's about an English veterinarian starting from back in the 1930s in his practice with his boss Siegfried Farnham, his Siegfried's brother Tristan, and all the interesting farmers in that region of England. It's the Dales region. And I love these books. They are so wonderful. They're written with the dialect, the way the people talk, and the funny things the farmers say, all the wonderful things the animals do. And I love this series. It's so funny and so heartwarming. I read them over and over. I absolutely love them. That's one.
I see that #2 on your list. Linda is a little better organized than I am. She has a list. I just have a bunch of books strewn out over the dining room table. But I see #2, you have Gerald Durrell. You want to talk a little bit about him?
That's another series I absolutely love, and there's so many books by this guy. He was from Britain, but then they moved to Corfu when he was a child. So he spent his childhood on the island of Corfu. And it was an island replete with wildlife, animals that he loved animals from the day he was born practically. He had a very lenient mother that let him bring all these animals into his bedroom. He had a very quirky, friendly family, and he talks about, in these books, talks about his childhood, then he goes along, talks about all the phases of his life, and he picks up all these animals, keeps them in his bedroom, plays on the seashore, goes out in boats. He, later on in his life, when he's a teenager, moves back to England, and he later on starts working in a zoo, and he gets the idea he wants to collect animals for zoos, and especially endangered species, to protect them from going extinct. He starts a zoo in Jersey, the island of Jersey. He goes all over the world. He spends his life going all over the world collecting animals for zoos. And these books he writes are about his travels collecting these animals. They're hilarious. These books are absolutely, he's a wonderful writer, just hilarious writer, and you will love these books. They're so good.
I think in England he's sort of an institution because he was on television a lot there. He had a BBC series.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. His name is Gerald Durrell, Durrell. His brother is a very famous novelist named Lawrence Durrell. He wrote the Alexandria Quartet, which
totally different kind of books.
Totally different thing. Two of my favorite Gerald Durrell books have been out of print for a while, and they have just been reissued under a single cover called the Corfu Trilogy. And the two of my three favorite books are My Family and Other Animals, just hilarious.
Just hilarious.
And Birds, Beasts, and Relatives.
Wonderful
And
book.
that's about him growing up on Isle of Corfu. And then later in life, he wrote a third book called The Garden of the Gods, also about Corfu. I haven't read that one yet. Another one of his really good books about collecting animals, it's very funny, is called The Overloaded Ark.
Yes.
And another really funny book is about the first job he ever had at a zoo, and it's called Beasts in the Belfry, and that's really good.
Yep. All his books are great. Can't beat them. So, I don't know, I just have a list here of stuff. I don't remember the plots to all of them. I just remember over the years that I loved these books. There was one called Arnie, the Darling Starling, about this lady that found this little bird out by her garden. It was a nestling. She brought it in the house, took it in the attic, tried to put it back in the nest, and it got back down the garden right beside her. It happened 3 times. She put it back. She decided that she was meant to take it inside and raise it because it just kept falling out of the nest. So it's about her raising this bird inside her house, making friends with it, and all the wonderful things that this bird does, including learning to talk and all sorts of things.
That's a real favorite.
It's a very charming book.
Favorite book with people who like keeping starlings as pets. I should have brought the book in because I can't remember the author's name right now. But it's Arnie, the Darling Starling. I'm pretty sure that's out of print. Linda, you were saying when you were rereading it that you would not recommend it as a how-to guide because she did a lot of things that people probably wouldn't do now when they're raising a starling.
I know she fed it steak and pieces of corn and orange juice, and I don't think you would do that. And
No.
I can run and get the book if you want me
That's okay.
to.
But yeah, go ahead and get it.
Yeah, just take.
Okay, Linda's got the book here, and who's the author, please?
Yeah, I actually had it in the bedroom because I started reading again. I don't know if I can pronounce this right. Marguerite, how do you pronounce Sigl? Sigil Corbo, Corbo, and Diane Marie Barras, Barras.
So just remember the last name, Corbo, Corbo.
Yeah, first name is Marguerite.
Yeah, but it's a very fun book.
It is.
It was kind of ahead of its time in a way. I think it was probably written in the 60s or something. But
somewhere around there.
A great book, so really recommend that.
Yes, very good.
Okay, what else you got there?
Another one is sort of along that same line is a book called That Quail Robert by Margaret I don't know if you pronounce it Stanger or Stanger. She finds an egg that is abandoned by the mother, and she hatches it, and it's this little quail, and it lives in her house, and all the cute things it does, and it's just another one of those kind of heartwarming books that you just can't put down. It's very sweet. I love that book. Okay, I see someone I want to talk about with you too, and that's this guy. Why don't you mention? This is just really one of my favorite all-time books. The Dog Who Rescues Cat by Philip Gonzalez, and I've actually talked with him on the phone. He's a great guy.
Several times, I think.
So yeah, several times. He's a great guy. He lives on Long Island, and he had gotten in some accident. What was it? Was it in the Air Force? I think it was at his job after he got out of the service. He got in an accident, and his arm and maybe a leg. Couldn't hardly do anything anymore. Nope, and so he kind of gave up on life. Yeah, and I don't know if somebody recommended him to go to the dog pound, get a dog, or if he just thought of that. But he went there intending to get, I think, a big dog. I think that's what he intended. And he kept seeing this little dog. And for some reason, that's the dog he fell in love with and decided he had to take home. Well, that dog turned out to be a dog that he named Ginny, who was a dog that liked to rescue cats. She had almost a psychic ability to find cats who were lost. And that's what this book is about. And you will just be amazed at the things that this dog can do, finding cats.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover picture right now.
Just a darling little dog.
I have never seen a dog that looks like this before.
So
it's
intelligent,
so striking.
and
Yeah.
the cats just love this dog. The last I heard, and this was a few years ago, but he had 43 cats in his apartment that he had rescued, and his friend that helps him had he had 44, and she had 43. So between the two of them, they had like 87, 88 cats. And this dog is just, you can walking down the street, and they'll go on a wild goose chase, and at the end of it, he finds a cat that's someplace like in an abandoned building or in a glove compartment of a car, or what. You'll just be amazed when you read this book.
Ginny will lead him right to the cat, and he'll say, "There's nothing here. I don't know what you're talking about."
In the
and
ductwork of an abandoned building.
Yeah.
No, she won't go.
She won't leave, and so he starts searching, and then he finds a cat, and for some reason Ginny likes cats. And this really turned into an avocation for Philip Gonzalez, because after this, he started waking up early every morning. He'd take Ginny for a walk. He lives on Long Island, and he would go feed all the stray cats on Long Island.
Yeah, and he had really medical problems that made it hard for him. I think finally somebody had to help him because he couldn't lift the food things to take out there, and he'd have to go middle of the night sometimes or close to morning to put the food out, like between 4 and 6, or anyway, in the a time that you'd never expect, just to help these cats. And it was great.
So it's The Dog Who Rescues Cats by Philip Gonzalez. I think he just
There's
lost
another one too, wasn't
The Blessing of the Animals.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
I think he just lost Ginny about 3 years ago now. But
really?
Yeah, but there's some fans that set up a website. I can't tell you the URL, but it's worth looking up. Fabulous book.
Oh, you will love it.
Yep. Did you want to talk a little bit about the pig book?
Why don't you talk about that one?
Well, we'll both talk about it. Cy Montgomery is a wonderful author who lives in New England. I forget which state exactly, but she has written a lot of nature books and books for children as well as adults. And there's a wonderful book for adults that Linda and I are both just crazy about, and it's called
The Good, Good Pig.
The Good, Good Pig.
I don't remember where she got it.
Well, she was visiting a neighbor who had this scrawny little pig, and they were going to get rid of the pig, and she felt sorry for it and took the little piglet home. It's just a tiny little dirty, ill piglet, and she never really even thought it would survive. Well, not only did it survive, it grew up
to be enormous.
Enormous. I forget if it weighed over 1,000 pounds or not.
I don't know, but
she named it Christopher Hogwood. And
everyone loved that pig. It had quite the personality.
Yeah, it had quite
People
the life,
came from all over to feed it.
Oh, yeah, and there's wonderful pictures in the book of just, you can't believe how enormous Christopher is. There's a neighbor boy, looks like about a 7-year-old boy or so, laying on the pig as the pig is lying on its side. And the pig looks so happy. And here's this kid just kind of laying on this pig.
Oh, yeah, that pig loved everybody.
Yeah, so that's a great book.
It is.
Cy has a new book called Birdology, and I'll just read you the subtitle. It's called Adventures with a Pack of Hens, a Peck of Pigeons, Cantankerous Crows, Fierce Falcons, Hip-Hop Parrots, Baby Hummingbirds, and one murderously big living dinosaur. And Cy goes around the world looking for unique and unusual birds, and she writes a chapter on each. Mostly travels in America, but she goes to Australia to see the cassowary. And I just want to say quickly that there's 2 absolutely extraordinary chapters among many. There's one about a rehabber who rehabs hummingbirds. And, if we think we have it tough raising our starlings and baby cedar waxwings, you would not believe how much trouble and how much care it takes to be a surrogate parent for a hummingbird.
To feed those things. Oh, my goodness.
And then there's a chapter on falconry. And I absolutely had no idea what a dangerous pastime that falconry is. And it's dangerous for the humans. I mean, you might as well have a tiger that you're messing around with, as these raptors are very dangerous. It's also dangerous for the birds, unfortunately, because they're prone to red-tailed hawks and other birds going after them. and it's dangerous for the dogs you take along. So I'm not going to pretend I'm an advocate of falconry, because I am not. But you really should read the chapter, because
Very
there's
interesting.
nothing else like it.
Yes.
We're going to take a break because, Linda, we're halfway through already, and we got a lot more books to talk about. This is our holiday reading guide show, episode of What Were You Thinking? Visit my website, www.bobtarte.com, and I'm not going to pretend that this list is going to be on the website, but I'm going to try and put the list up on the Pet Life Radio website, www.petliferadio.com. So we're going to take a break, word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
What Were You Thinking? We'll be right back after Bob gets the ducks out of his living room. Don't go away.
There's a movement afoot, ShoeBuy.com. Join the millions of people who shop ShoeBuy.com's over 400 brands and 500,000 products. Order now and get free shipping and free return shipping. ShoeBuy.com, the world's greatest shoe store.
Walk your dog in style and comfort. Enter the code THINKING, THINKING, at checkout and get a 10% discount plus free shipping at ShoeBuy.com.
Love your pets but wish their medications were a lot less expensive? They are at 1-800-PET-MEDS. You'll not only save on flea and heartworm medications, but on prescriptions for arthritis, incontinence, thyroid, and more. And you get fast service, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, our licensed pharmacists ensure accuracy, monitor drug interaction, and more. See why over 5 million people have trusted their pet's health to 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. Call now or order online.
Go to petmeds.com/what, WHAT, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more.
At Petco, we really love pets. There isn't anything we won't do to make sure they're getting the best products and the best care. So when you ask us a question like,
so how do you feel about cat condos?
We can say from experience,
Feels like home for her.
Enter the code WHAT, WHAT, and save 10% on orders of $65 or more, plus free shipping at petco.com. You ask the question, what do I want? What do I need? I'll take affection. I really should mention I need time. I need love. I crave attention. Listen to waiting by the door. With shaking tails and happy hearts. And running circles round the floor. That's always when the party starts for me. They are my friends. They are my children. They are the furry feathers and gifts. They are my family. They understand me. That's how I love my pets.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available on iTunes.
What Were You Thinking is brought to you by Angie'sList.com. Need veterinary care for your pets? How about someone to work on your home, teeth, or car? Take away the guesswork by choosing a provider that your neighbors gave the highest rating. You'll find thousands of reviews on service providers right in your area. What Were You Thinking listeners get a 25% discount too. Join Angie's List and use promo code THINKING, THINKING, and get 25% off at Angie'sList.com.
When you're looking to add a pet into your life, consider adopting a homeless animal from your local shelter or rescue group. Whether you want a kitten, puppy, or a more mature pet, a purebred or a one-of-a-kind mixed breed, even a rabbit or hamster, your shelter has the best selection of animals anywhere, all screened for good health and behavior. PetLifeRadio.com presents Take Me Home with your host, Susan Daffron. Join us each week as we showcase wonderful pets tell stories, and even throw some pet education into the mix. So get ready to find out why the pet adoption option can be a great way to add a furry companion into your life. Take Me Home every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Okay, ducks are in the pond, rabbits in his hutch, and monkeys... Ow! In my car! Oh, okay, well, I go check my insurance policy. We'll turn you back over to Bob.
Hi, you're back with Bob Tarte and Linda Tarte. Hi, Linda. What's that?
Which I wonder if I can
Yeah, you can read that. And we are talking about a holiday reading guide. These are books that about pets or nature, animals that would be good gifts, but also they're just plain good reading. So if you want to, you don't get the book you asked for Christmas, although you should ask for Enslaved by Ducks and Fowl Weather.
Of course.
The print edition and the Kindle edition. But even after you get them, you might want more animal books to read. Linda, what book do you have there that you recommend?
Well, this one is called Duck by Ralph Helfler, who is a well-known Hollywood animal trainer. And this is, I'll just read you something that's on the back of the book because it's kind of cool. Spanning 7 decades and 3 continents, Duck is one of the most amazing true stories, animal stories ever told. Raised together in a small German circus town, a boy and an elephant formed a bond that would last their entire lives and would be tested time and again through a near-fatal shipwreck in the Indian Ocean, an apprenticeship with the legendary Mahout elephant trainers in the Indian teak forest, their eventually rise to circus stardom in the 1940s New York City. Duck is a captivating true story of loyalty, friendship, and high adventure to be treasured by animal lovers everywhere. And it is just a
I
wonderful
see it's
story.
got a blurb by Betty White on the back.
She says, once I started this incomparable story, I couldn't put it down, and you can't really. And I cannot get it out of my mind, nor will I ever. The message of what can be accomplished by training through affection and joy will thrill all animal lovers. So that is a book I think you would love.
Good. I'm going to mention 3 books by people that we know. Actually, and I do know Cy Montgomery a little bit. I've emailed her a few times. But these are 3 very good books. The first one, I'll give you the titles first, and then we'll talk a little bit about them. The first one is called Bandy, The True Tale of a Courageous Cape Cod Canada Goose by Marcia Martin.
That's a great book.
Yep. And the second one is Providence of a Sparrow by Chris Chester. And then the third is Born Without a Tail by Care Ariel Wolf. Linda, do you want to talk about Bandy a little bit? Marcia Martin's
a long time
book.
since I read that, but as she rescued him, was Bandy injured in the beginning? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read it. But
I know he had a very bad foot problem, and she thought she was going to lose him. Probably the old fishing line. Marcia, if you're listening, I'm sorry. We should have scanned the book again, but it's about her befriending a wild Canada goose.
And taking very good care of this goose and just loving it.
And seeing it season after season. And here we have a wild goose that would seek her out.
Yes.
Different places in Cape Cod and find her. And it's really very rare that people befriend a wild animal and then the animal stays wild.
Yeah, you could tell that they loved her.
Yeah, and she is just marvelous. This is a really well-written book. And
probably get this book on her website.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon. I've seen it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep, and so it's called Bandy, The True Tale of a Courageous Cape Cod Canada Goose by Marcia Martin.
Very good writer, and we really enjoyed it.
Yep. Here's another great book by a friend of mine. It's called Born Without a Tail, and it's by Care Ariel Wolf. And Care lives, or Ariel as she likes to be called, she lives in a national forest in Cleveland. Not too many people live in national. Oh, she loves dogs. She's been on the show before talking about this book, and this is about Ariel and her partner Daleen, and about all the animals they have rescued.
Quite a few.
Oh, yeah. One of the stars of this, of course, is the dog Waldo and Troll. The star of the book, though, is her dog Dylan, who lived a really long life, and you want to read about how she found these animals, all the things that happened to her trying to take care of them, to her and Daleen, and it's just amazing.
They're very patient.
And she is such a fantastic writer. You would think that this is her 10th book rather than her first one. She just
very well written.
Is a natural. One more book. This is by Chris Chester, and this is called Providence of a Sparrow, Lessons from a Life Gone to the Birds. And this is about Chris and his wife, Rebecca, and they find, it's a little bit in the vein of Arnie the Darling Starling, in that they find a little bird that fell out of the nest, and then they take care of the bird. And this is a sparrow named Bee.
He falls in love with this bird.
Yes.
He would do anything for it.
And you would have a hard time finding any other book that has such close observations of a bird.
Very detailed.
Yep, and really about how the bird thinks, the intelligence of this bird, and it's...
Didn't they devote 2 rooms of their house upstairs to the birds?
Their whole upstairs was a free
the
fly
whole
zone
upstairs.
because they
like for them to be free.
They got other birds too. So if you can get the hardcover rather than the paperback, I would suggest that, because the paperback, he added a chapter on the end about the demise of the sparrow Bee, and I'm not so crazy about that. I like the happy ending in the hardcover.
Right.
But either way...
It's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
Very well written. Oh, let's see. Some of these classics like Call of the Wild, the Jack London books, Call of the Wild and White Fang. These are beautifully written books about a man up in Alaska. These are fiction, not nonfiction, but they're so beautifully written about a man and his sled dog and the team and the relationship between the dogs on the team and his relationship with them and how the dogs feel, or about how this main dog feels about him. And both of these books, it really looks from the voice of the animal, how they feel about the people and their environment. They're excellent books.
Yeah,
Very good.
Just classics.
They are classics. And, of course, the Cleveland Amory books, people love those. The Cat Who Came for Christmas and Ranch of Dreams are 2 books that he wrote about. The Cat Who Came for Christmas was, I think it was just some white kitten outside his door near Christmas time, and it's a story of his relationship and the development of that relationship with this cat that he found just before Christmas.
I want to go back. I need to spell Care Ariel Wolf's name so that you can find the book.
Spelled differently.
Yeah. This is Born Without a Tail, the book we're talking about a woman who takes in the stray cats and dogs. And her last name is Wolf, W-U-L-F-F. And so...
the first name is spelled C-A-Y-R, which is a little different spelling.
Yep. So Born Without a Tail. And you can find the book on Amazon, and you can also find it on her website, which, of course, I don't have. But you can find it pretty easy. So that
Did you mention Lockett's Meadow?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. This is another friend
Kathleen,
of ours.
How do you pronounce her last name?
Kathleen Schuurman, Schuurman, She has 2 Lockett's Meadows books.
They're so good.
Oh, they're really good. They're
spoken in the voice of the animals at her farm.
Yep, these are books for young adults, but everyone will enjoy them.
Anyone would love those books.
I have to tell you,
I could not put them down, either one of them.
I usually don't like books that are told through an animal's point of view, but these are so genuine,
intelligent
and
well
authentic.
done, humorous, and wonderful, just the way they're written.
Yep, the first book is called Lockett's Meadow, The Long Road Home. And then the second book, there we go, I had to grab the book. The second book is called Captain of the Dance, and tremendous books. Look for those. You can't put them down, they're so good. One reason they're so authentic is that Kathleen, I misspelled her name, is Schurman. So that's Kathleen, Schurman, and she's an animal communicator, and so she actually hears the voices of animals in her head. Very interesting person. Oh, it's really a fun, entertaining, wonderful book.
Now, you can talk maybe about Kat Albrecht's book, Pet Chronicles.
Yeah, The Lost Pet Chronicles by Kat Albrecht, Albrecht, and she is the first person in the United States to have used tracking dogs to track lost pets. And
she teaches them to do that.
Yep.
And she goes to different locations around the country and looks for lost pets.
Yeah, so. And which she mostly gives workshops now, and she has a...
Trying to teach people how to do it, is that it?
Yeah, I think it's called the Lost Pet Partnership, but... she has classes for other people to learn how to do that. But it was amazing that someone with tracking dogs could find lost pets. And one great thing about her book is that there's an appendix in the back of the book with tips on what to do if you lose a dog and what to do if you lose a cat, because the animals behave very differently when they're lost. So
Right.
it's a great book.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
And then there's a book called Traveler that I don't know who the author is. I can't find that book around the house, but it's written about Robert E. Lee's. It's written through the voice of Robert E. Lee's horse. And it tells the story of their lives together through the voice, more or less, of this horse called Traveler. It's a very famous horse, Civil War times, and I don't know. If it's not in bookstores, you could call there and find where to get it. It's just a wonderful book. It was popular for a long time. When we went to a horse museum in Kentucky, they had a lot of material about this horse. He was so famous, and I really highly recommend that book. I loved it.
I want to mention a couple of books. These are more nature books, I guess, but they're really, really good. It's by Bernd Heinrich, B-E-R-N-D, Heinrich, H-E-I-N-R-I-C-H, and this is Ravens in Winter and Mind of the Raven. And these are both books about wild ravens and about just how extraordinarily intelligent they are, and really amazing
those are
books.
Good books.
Really amazing.
There's Wesley the Owl. Did we mention that one?
Here it is right here. We're running out of time, so you want to talk
Wesley the Owl by
Stacey
Stacey O'Brien. A remarkable love story of an owl and his girl. She raised this little owl to adult.
Barn owl,
and had it many years. Great book. There's also one called The Wilderness Family by Kobe Kruger.
Oh, okay. The Wilderness Family is wonderful.
She's such a good writer, that woman
This is about a South African woman whose husband is the warden at a
largest
wildlife refuge
there in South Africa.
And they had to, I think, to get to town, they had to cross a river that was full of hippopotamuses.
Yeah, and then when they were crossing, the hippopotamus might come up to the boat, that kind of. And they raised a lion named Leo. And that was such an interesting to hear about that.
Oh, that's just an amazing. The animals that she encountered.
They, talked about.
I remember all the problems they had with hyenas. If you left anything out overnight,
leather, they'd eat it.
If you left rubber galoshes out, the hyenas would eat them.
They would
overnight.
Literally anything.
And I remember when we've had our problems with the generator before, I always think of her because she had a really temperamental generator, and that was their only source of electricity. So that's a great book.
Oh, I love that book. I've read that again and again.
Do you want to talk about these two books?
A veterinarian in Alabama named Dr. John McCormick. He has at least 2 books out, and one of them's called A Friend of the Flock, and another one's called Fields and Pastures New, about his life being a veterinarian in rural Alabama.
He's been kind of referred.
Very engaging books.
He's been kind of referred to as the
the James Harriet of
Southern America.
Yeah, there you go. It's
and they're very entertaining. I remember the first book was good because it's all about him kind of trying to gain acceptance in this small community as a vet. Right. And just like James Harriet had to gain acceptance up in the Dales.
Yes, people that didn't want to spend money ever take their animals to, and you just had to prove yourself. And
yeah.
Very, very funny stories.
Yeah, so that's a great book.
Swans in My Bathtub by Mary Jane Stretch. That was a good book.
Was she a rehabber?
She was a rehabber. Tells all these stories about rehabbing animals.
You know, that title reminds me of a book I can't find that I wanted to, I'm just coming to mind right now, called A Tarantula in My Purse.
We didn't have that one, did we?
Yeah, that was a great book.
You
and
did?
there were good stories about crows and all kinds of animals.
Who wrote that one?
See, I can't remember.
Oh.
I can't remember. I'm just thinking of it now.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But these books, any and all of them, are great, and if you have the opportunity to get them, I'm sure you'll have some good reading there.
This isn't exactly an animal book. It's called The Outermost House by Henry Beston.
About nature.
It's about nature, but it's got one of the most famous animal quotes in it about how animals are other nations. And that's a quote that I've seen on the whole paragraph. I won't read it because there's just an amazing quote. And I've seen it in a poster on the walls of a vet. I think it might be our vet up in Cedar Springs.
Really?
But it's an amazing book. It's about a guy who lived in the easternmost house in all of North America. In the early 1900s, he built a little house on the Cape Cod beach. And so he lived really close to nature. It wasn't even a house, it was a shack.
Kind of a Henry David Thoreau kind of a guy.
Amazing.
Very good writer.
Yep. So those are our recommendations of books you might want to curl up with in the cold winter months, or if you're in Florida, sit out in the sun and
whatever.
Yeah. So
we enjoyed these books a lot.
Yep. So we hope you got some good suggestions. If you missed some of the titles, I'm going to try and put them all on Pet Life Radio website. Otherwise, email me, bob@petliferadio.com, and I'd be happy to give you the titles of the book.
And if you know any books that you love that are pet books that we should hear about, let us know.
Yep.
I'm always looking for new books to read.
Yeah, we used to have a book.
Books.
We used to have a book called "Whoever Heard of a Horse in the House." Remember that?
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I gave it to some friends of ours in Kentucky who actually raised a horse in their house too.
Oh, that was a good book.
So anyway, thanks so much to my producer Mark Winter, and thanks to Linda for helping me with this episode.
It was fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions. Where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tarte. Every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.